Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode of Make Your Mark podcast. Now, I have such an amazing guest for us today, and I know what you're thinking, saying, Kay, you say that to us every week, but every single one of my guests are amazing. And today we have Jordan Elizabeth Gelber. She is a New York-based actress, a 2 times entrepreneur, and content creator. She uses her voice and platforms to empower others to create their pathway to success and unabashedly follow their dreams. Over the years, she has used and turned her struggles with ADHD and PTSD into her superpower. For success, her dreams in life has always been to build a bridge between the gap of creativity, aspirations, and business strategies. This mindset has helped her build her 360 marketing and development agency, Star Baby, and her two-sided marketplace and streaming platform, Aperture. Please welcome the amazing Jordan to the stage. Oh my goodness, Jordan. We've had some fun backstage.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. It's good. It's good. It's warmed us up. We're totally ready now.
It has for sure. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you do and how you help your clients, I would love for you to explain a little bit about your journey and kind of some of the ups and downs you went through to get to where you are today, because we all know it doesn't happen, on a click of a finger, right? So tell us a little bit about what your journey was like.
It's so funny when you say that, because I love when I meet people and they're like, oh, overnight successes, not realizing like an overnight success takes about 10 years. So my journey, how did I get started? Well, I always knew from a very young age I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I always knew I was going to be creative because my biggest passion in life has always been acting. And my parents didn't really subscribe to the idea of like their daughter being like a professional actor. Because at the time, I don't think it was obtainable or easy to like recognize as it is now. Like there's so many options to break into the industry. But what happened is like, I knew that I really wanted to act, and I went to like two high schools at the same time. And I was just, all I knew is when I graduated, I really, really, really just wanted to be in New York and I wanted to act. And I didn't get into any of the schools I wanted to get to because I didn't have the grades at the time. But I knew that if I wanted to act, I would go do it. So I didn't focus on going to like an acting school because I'd gone to a half day to acting high school. And then if I wanted to act, I'd go do it. And I would go study something else that would help me on my pathway to breaking into the entertainment industry. I've always been very passionate about that.
Okay, so you went from being an actress, right? And being in the entertainment world to then becoming an entrepreneur. How did that happen?
It's so funny. I think it happened all at the same time, which is crazy. I mean, that's the beginning of me realizing I have ADHD, right? Like, let's do everything at once. And then like, ball. Okay. Yeah, I think, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and the fondest memory I have is like, both my dad's an entrepreneur. So when I was a kid, I would watch him, and then I would bring on my Pokemon cards and I would sell my Pokemon cards at his like business meeting. So I was always selling, moving, shaking, doing fun things. So yeah, when I went to school, I was a communication arts and graphic design major, double minor, because I'm always doing more than I possibly can. And yeah, and I started my business right after school. So, why did I start my business? I was freelancing as a graphic designer, and I still really wanted to act. And anytime there was an opportunity to have a job, I was like mortified over the fact that like, oh my God, what if I get an acting job? I want to be auditioning. I would like highlight all the castings in the newspaper. And, I was really, just really upset about the fact that I couldn't just go act. And that's pretty much been like the theme my whole life. But it really inspired me to start my own business because I really wanted to just be able to work and do things, create my own time, and give myself the freedom to follow what I love. And Star Baby's become this massive thing now. And now I have this other company, and it's all based around the fact that like I wanted to support people who wanted to go out on their own. And I wanted to also empower creatives to be more business savvy. And I do both of those things, and I still get to do the things that I love. So being an entrepreneur was just about what I like to say, which is like controlling your own narrative and controlling your own path. And that's really what it was about for me.
I love that. Now, Star Baby is huge, right? Like there's so many things, so many components within Star Baby that you help your clients with, right?
Mhm.
Do you want to just break that down for our listeners today and what that really comprises
Yeah. I think it's funny because like you and I met a while ago when
of?
Star Baby was like figuring it all out. I was just starting to do video production. I still do that, but it's somewhere else. And I was like, I got to do graphic design. I got to do marketing and I got to do PR and I got to do all these different things. And social media is brand new. And I really whittled it down. I think the way that you whittle down your business is really listening to your clients and asking what they want and really discovering what they actually want, which is two very different things. What they think they want and what they actually want and actually need are all very different things. So Star Baby got whittled down to not doing everything, but to create 360 solutions that really took over every aspect of somebody's business. So I like to say that like, because I also do entertainment stuff, and in entertainment we have this concept called like world building when we're writing scripts and stuff. I like to think that I do like business world building. So I'm helping people create the ecosystems of their business where like they're at the front. I'm helping the CEO like put their face out there, but at the same time we're working on their social media and making sure the social media is SEO optimized and that stuff's working in the website, and like all these little pieces where it does seem like we do so much, but the reality is that everything you do for your business, whether you are aware of it or not, they are all intertwined. And I saw that people don't just need one thing. And so I wanted to make sure that we provided like 360 solutions. So I don't do everything under the sun, but I provide really great strategies with, I would say like mostly startups and some bigger tech companies, and work with them to kind of build their ecosystem of their brand and really just like connect directly to their audience.
I love that. I love that. And I want to take a couple of steps back when you mentioned earlier about what people want, right? And what people like really need, what they need in their business, right? So how do you differentiate the two? Or what's your process?
My process is I always find out when someone reaches out to me, the first thing that I get a lot is social media. Everyone thinks that social
Mm.
media is like the end all be all. And that's because since like social video got popular and, since pandemic times, like people kept putting out content and they see how people got viral and they don't realize like virality isn't a sustainable business model. So they go and they come to me and they say, this person that was my competitor did this thing. And if they can do it, I can do it. And I'm like, well, that guy's been literally doing YouTube for like 10 years. So it's,
Right.
what we said before about like, it's not just like a click of a button. Certain things were put in place to make it happen. So for instance, when people come to me for social media, I say to them, like, why do you think you need social media?
Mhm.
What are you trying to get out of social media? What's your end goal? Because it's like a life cycle strategy. Like I go to college, I want to get a degree because I want to get into this kind of field. Or I started a business that focused on, fabric softener because I want my product to be in Bed Bath and Beyond, which is now going out of business. So that was a really bad example. But I mean, like everything that you do, every strategy that you put out is a succession of points that gets you to your desired end goal. So when someone says, yeah, exactly. So when someone says to me, like, I want social media, and I'm like, well, why? And what do you want to say? And what are you hoping to get out of that? Then I discover it's like, they're hoping that social media defines their brand. So the real problem is that they're having a brand confusion and they're having brand identity issues,
Ah.
or they don't understand, or like they want to use social media because they feel like they just need to have it. And I say, why? And they're like, because I need to get followers. I'm like, what are you hoping followers to do? And then we get to the point of like, I want them to, go on my website and buy my products. I'm like, okay, so we need to create a sales funnel that drives traffic to your website. Is your website set up to do that? And then you find out that that's not the case. So it's really understanding what strategies people think they need and understanding why they assume that or why they've deduced that that's what their pain point is. And then learning more about the foundation. And a lot of the times it's just a foundational issue that they really need to clear up. And then everything else makes sense. And it really, really helps them kind of click into what they really want to do. And it helps them step away from doing things out of like rushed needs versus doing things out of like building an actual business model.
Right. I love that. Now, I've had firsthand experience with you doing this with me, right? Right. And I know
Baby
how
Jordan, baby star baby.
and you're great at it, right? You're great at asking the right questions and pulling out the information in order to know what it is that your clients need, right? And so, with that being said, how or what should people be focusing on, right? At the very beginning, if it isn't social media, if it isn't, email marketing, if it, getting on stages, what would you say are like the say top three things that people really should be focusing on in their business, especially when they're starting up?
Great question. I think that it's not even services, because you can break down what you assume. Like everyone needs a website, whether you like it or not. Everyone needs social media because I liken social media and like things I call like your virtual storefronts, like your website and your social. And no, you don't have to be on every platform. And like all the stuff that's like forward facing on the internet and stuff as your virtual storefront. So you know that you need to have it because it's like I saw this sign once that a sign with no business is a sign of no business. So if you don't have a social media or you don't have a website, it really shows like you don't really have a business because you're competing with that. So I kind of deconstruct it. And I think that this is where people make the first mistake is they come up with an idea and then they decide like, oh, these are all the things I have to do for that idea, when they're not really coming up with specific strategies that are just basic strategies, and the vehicle might be social media, and the vehicle might be email marketing, the vehicle might be outreach for stages. But I break down every strategy that I do. So first we decide like, what's the end goal? So let's say the end goal is I want someone to purchase my product. Okay, so we need to have some sort of sales funnel. So I break down a sales funnel, and every kind of funnel, everything that I do is broken down into 3 points. And this is why I work with my clients. So it's about creation, conversation, conversion. And that's where I really think people need to think about. So creation is obviously you need to make content. So it's about creating content that has your voice, that sounds like you, that looks like you, that's cohesive, consistent, easy to manage, and also highlights and represents your brand in the best possible way. So, so really you're creating content. And then, okay, creating content could be like making banners for your website because you want to show that you are a, digital editing brand. So you need to have great visuals. Okay, great. Now I know where that goes. That goes on the website because by seeing this, I'm going to put a button right there and they're going to click it and they're going to go to the next place. But I'm going to use social media because it's an easier example, but like we create content and then I talk about conversation. So a big thing that I saw that a lot of people were missing is that they were creating stuff and putting it out there, or like creating stuff and getting PR, like paying for lots of PR, but they weren't communicating beyond that, where they didn't take the full advantage of having this like staccato moment of like, look at me, I bloomed into the air. When it's like, after you've released it, are you talking to your audience? Are you going where your audience is, where they talk about their problems that you're hoping to solve? So it's like, I do a lot with LinkedIn for people, for example, which we've discussed, where, we're not only making content, but we make content, we, go to people's followers, we go to the profiles they follow, then talk to them and talk to their audience and really input ourselves within the conversation. Because, that's like when you look at someone's social media profile and you see they have lots of likes, but they don't have a lot of content and engagement. It's about having a conversation. So the different places of conversation for people could be like having a YouTube, doing live streams, talking to people. That's a very high level place for people that like video, right? But another way could be doing a social media post or a series of posts that, it says in there like a call to action to communicate, to engage, to have a conversation, because that's where the trust factor comes in. Another way, exactly. So like another way could be like, I'm creating a digital product that I want to sell, but the purpose of this, I really want people to know I'm an expert in podcasts. We've talked about this in podcasts. So I make content that says, this is what I've done because I want you guys to know that I think it's unfair that there's all this stuff that people can't navigate. I've simpled it down for you because I really want to show that I am of service to people and that I really want to help people and show you my expertise and how I've narrowed it down. So I've created this digital product about podcasts. I'm going to put it out there. I might make it free. And then what I'll do is see what people engage. I'll do a webinar and then I'll talk to people in the webinar. So it's like, breaking down what you want your content to be and who you're trying to communicate your content with. And are you actively communicating with them afterwards? So if you do PR, are you sharing it? Are you then saying, everybody, look what I did here. Let me know your thoughts, and responding to people, or going into like Reddit forums. I mean, I can go into all these little nuanced ways that might seem overwhelming to people, but you don't have to do everything. You just have to do something as simple as, I make a LinkedIn, I make sure my profile is optimized. I'm constantly talking about things consistently and repetitive, because people don't realize you have to be repetitive. And then also talking to people who respond to me, and talking to other people that think like me or that I would really want to work with, and show up where they are, so they know that like, I want to communicate with you, I want to engage with you. And then the final thing is conversion. And conversion could be like making a sale, or booking a meeting, or booking a speaking gig. Conversions, whatever that conversion means to you. So like, I want to help people. Like, one thing I've been really passionate about right now is like AI, and I'm obsessed with ChatGPT.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my, for ChatGPT, I've accepted as my virtual boyfriend, and I don't care what anyone says. I love it. But like, I created a whole ChatGPT for actors course. I like helping creatives understand business. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is going to help my whole community, you know, really take it by the reins and stand above everything, because there's a huge learning curve. I'm like, great. So I'm going to show everybody, I'm do a free webinar. Awesome. Put it out there. Well, what is my conversion? Well, I want people to, you know, come to me for ChatGPT and acting consulting for business. So I put all those things out there, and I'm hoping to communicate more. I do videos and I support people. But my conversion is, I wanted just people to engage with me more, to follow me, have actors who want to start using my stuff and helping their career, and just talking about it. The sale is something that hopefully will happen, but the conversion for me was, I wanted more my peers to respect me and follow me and engage with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think really stands out from what you're saying to me is consistency. You got to consistently keep showing up, right?
Mhm.
And it's not going to happen on the first post that you sent out,
Mhm.
right? Or the first masterclass. You got to continuously keep showing up and finding out what it is that your audience really, really need, right? Not what they want from you, but what they really need. And then creating the stuff that they need from you in order for them to be able to move forward in their business. Is that right?
That's totally right. That's totally right. And the overarching theme with that, or the theme that kind of goes through all that, that I'm very focused on, is controlling your narrative. That's like my big theme with everything, because I believe that, you know, Tony Robbins says this great thing. I'm going to sound so ancient, but like, it's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And the reality is that people aren't maximizing their resources to control their narrative, because we live in a digital society today. So you can control what people say about you, how people think about you, the different ways that they want to, you know, they might want to use you or work with you, different ways that you can insert yourself. There are so many ways to control that you have that power by doing like this creation, conversation, conversion strategy. And you know, you can break that up. It could be easy as like, if you know your pain point, like a lot of people come to me because CEOs are completely overwhelmed, including myself. They're completely overwhelmed. They don't have the time to focus on something which they think is so minuscule, like social media. I'm going to keep using social media. It's a very easy example. Social media. So they want someone to do everything, but they want to still sound like them. So I spend some time with them, and then I create stuff that they really want. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, why does your audience use you? Why do your clients really work with you? Like, what is your real special sauce? And we figure out what that is. And then we start talking to those people with the content that we create, because it's really about talking with them, creating proactive content and reactive content, and sparking that conversation, and really discovering, maybe there's a new pain point you've discovered, maybe by, you know, going into different forums, that I know might seem like a lot of time wasting for people, but for some people it works. Going into forums and like seeing people asking questions that, oh, well, that's something I didn't think about, but that's related to my business. Now I discovered something, I'm going to talk about it. And then next time that person searches that question, maybe I'll pop up, you know? So it's really just, you know, creating stuff with the purpose to talk to your audience, and making sure that you're getting your audience to do what you want them to do. And that's as simple as it is, even though there's specific strategy, but that's in simple terms what it is.
But you just said something there, right? Getting people to do what you want them to do, right? People think it's easy. People think, oh, let me just say, oh, click the link below and people are going to do it, right? That's not the case. So how do you get people to do what you want them to do and really engage with you?
I think you said it already. It's about consistency. About consistency. I had a previous client who wanted to launch a business in like a very like big like finance and real estate. I have a lot of finance and real estate clients. And, you know, I have people who are experts in their field, who've been in the field been in the industry for like decades upon decades. and have like this great amount of information. It might be the best person in the world, but they right now are only introducing themselves as this expert. So they have clients and stuff who know who they are, and that's great. But as this expert individual, you're not just going to get people because you say I'm an expert. And, you know, what they saw is like, oh, well, all these people that aren't that great at it, that are actually saying false information, all these kind of frauds in people, well, they're getting business. How come they're making money and I'm not? And I say to him, you know, or them and whoever, you know, because I've had women and men who don't really like the strategy, but I tell them, I'm like, they've been talking louder, longer, and more consistently.
Yes, I love that you said that. Speaking louder and being consistent. And also, what I've learned is you've got to be intentional,
Yes, 100%.
right? You got to, like, this t-shirt right here, like, I've got so many different t-shirts like this, right? But guess what? I wear them like when I go to the gym, when I'm going out, right? Because people are reading the t-shirts. And it's so funny because I go to the gym, people see these t-shirts about podcasting, right? And they're like, okay, I want to start a podcast. What do I do? What are the first things I need to be thinking about? And you get into that conversation, right? And I find that people are always watching you. You don't realize it, but they're
Always.
always watching, even though they don't comment or they don't like or whatever it is that you're trying to get them to do, they are watching. I mean, I've had people come onto my podcast for a couple of years now, right? And I had someone actually contact me today, right? They were my episode 46. Saying, I need help with my podcast. I've been watching you and how you've grown. I need to figure out how to build my podcast. So people are always watching in the background, but you shouldn't stop posting and talking about what your passion, what your business is about, because it will gradually work up to the point where people are just coming up to you and asking you questions.
And I would definitely say, like, there's two great things of what the example you just gave. Number one, it's really about being authentic. Authenticity matters. And I'm going to keep going back to, like, you know, pandemic times. I know it was like a touchy subject, but while we were all at home, everyone made content. Everyone was like, I'm home and I'm bored and I need to connect with people. I'm going to make content. So now it got very oversaturated. So people were there like, oh, how are all these people getting successful? And it's like the people that have been doing it for longer got successful because they've been around on those platforms longer. People that are just starting need to understand it's an oversaturated marketplace. So the way to stay different and to stand out is being authentic with your message, being clear and concise, and just being yourself, because the trust factor is real. If you don't come off authentic, you're not going to get an audience. And that's 100%. You know, I use LinkedIn a lot because LinkedIn is a great way to be an authentic, to present yourself authentically. Now I can't speak authentically. And also, what?
I said it's catching.
It's catching. But it's also a way for, like, the CEO to show their face and engage with their customers, even if it's just about talking about strategy, right? Like if I did this and I start talking more about my creative strategy and my business strategy, people are going to flock to me because I'm just giving out, like, the way that I think, because the way I think is different. And I want people to think like me or respect my way of thought. I have to tell people so they know about it, because there's a whole learning curve. And I don't want people to just buy into it to get the learning curve. I want people to be excited about it and ask questions and be engaged. So you have to be authentic and you have to be consistent. And subliminally, yeah, you don't know what people are seeing. You know, it's funny to me because I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I've been around a lot of old and young entrepreneurs, and I'm always listening to them. That's another big thing. You need to keep listening. Keep listening. You always will have to pay your dues. The tax bracket is a lot different. The cost is different. You're gonna always have to do it. So the best thing you can do is listen. And a lot of strategies that are successful today are literally OG marketing and advertising strategies from way back in the day. And I can easily say this because my favorite marketing strategy, because I'm a nerd and I know these things, is called love marketing. And I learned it in college. And love marketing is the concept of having, I might even said this to you way back when, but love marketing is the kind of experience of having emotional connection with the brand, and therefore you trust the brand. That's why you want to buy it. And I always think about, like, you know, there used to be this commercial with Campbell's soup when I was younger, where this kid was like a snowman. And then he came in and he's this little snowman, he's eating soup that Campbell's soup his mom put in front of him. And he starts melting to the little boy. And you think of, oh, my mother made me warm and now I'm a boy again. Like you have all these emotional ties about like mom and comfort and all these things. And they're around the idea of this soup, Campbell's soup. So like, that's why people might ask for Campbell's over chicken soup. But like a better, easy way to like show people is like, why do you ask for a Band-Aid and not just like a bandage? Why do you ask for Tylenol or Advil instead of like ibuprofen or acetaminophen or aspirin? Why do you ask for Kleenex instead of tissues? Is because you've been seeing these things for a while. You don't know what you're constantly being thrown out on a daily basis. So the really great thing about being consistent is that you don't know. It could be the first time, the 50th, or the 500th time saying the same thing over and over again that someone's going to finally click it. Because even the people that you are most inspired by, they did their thing consistently to the time that finally it stuck because they were known for that idea. And so, you have to constantly not be on, but just don't change things all the time because you're afraid, well, people aren't listening now. Well, you haven't done it enough. There are people who've been doing it for 10 years that it just clicked, or 3 years that just clicked. But like, I would say, come up with something, be authentic, be genuine, don't be confusing. You don't have to be clever, and just consistently put your message out there. And then maybe find examples of how your message can help people, and then show that in a real life case study story, and then keep putting it out there and out there and out there, because it's the consistency and the talking louder, longer that's really going to make you stand out.
I love that. I love that. Now, Jordan, I know at this point people are thinking, holy crap, I need to get hold of Jordan. Like, I need to work with him, right? So where can they go to connect with you?
Well, first of all, you can always find me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I use my inbox here and there, so always message me. And then I'm very active on social media. My company's social media, we're in a big revamp because we've been focusing on a lot of educational content. So the best way to get a hold of me is either starbabyenterprises.com. So that's starbabyenterprises.com, which was probably too long for anyone to understand. Or you can find at Starbaby Agency on Instagram, or find me at Jordy_Starbaby, and that's Jordy with an IE at the end. And that's the best way to get a hold of me directly. And honestly, just reach out. I always love helping people. And even if you're not ready or you can't necessarily afford our whole team, I have lots of options for people. And I'm really passionate about giving people the tools that they need, because you shouldn't be able to be successful just because of something that's as frustrating as money, because you never know. You might have the next best idea. And I'd love to help you on your journey.
I love that you said that. And you know what? Is absolutely right, people. Like Jordan, she isn't about the money. Like, she's there to really help you, right? And really find out what the root cause is, how you can move forward. So if you haven't spoken to Jordan yet, I urge you, go and do it right now. Go and connect with her. Go and find out what else she's doing. Go and book a call with her and see how she can help you, because she will be able to help you move your business so rapidly, and also give you a completely different perspective on your business, which she's done for me several times. This is why I've worked with her before, and I will continue working with her. She's absolutely amazing. Now, all the links that Jordan has mentioned will be in the show notes. So if you've missed it, go scroll down and go check out the show notes and go and connect with Jordan. Jordan, it was amazing to have you on the show. If there was one last thing that you wanted to say to our listeners today, what would that be?
Give yourself the permission to say yes, and stop waiting for people to tell you when it's okay to get started.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Amazing. Guys, go and connect with Jordan right now. Thanks once again, Jordan. It was amazing having you on the show.
So much fun. Thank you. And thanks everybody for listening and watching.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.